Good afternoon. Thank you for joining this presentation of MapStore for seeing together a kind of year in review of the project. Also reviewing briefly what is introduced in the latest MapStore geOrchestra version. So basically this is the agenda of what we will see within this presentation. So what has been released in the latest MapStore integration with geOrchestra, as well as then the new features that we just released in 2026 for the MapStore 2026-01 measure release. And then I will present you ongoing works that we are expecting for this year, next year, and in the next few years in general. So let's see. Let's start with the integration with geOrchestra. So the latest release, 2025-02-00, has been released in May 2026. It is compatible for sure with geOrchestra version 25. The release notes are all available in the usual GitHub page. So the in respect to the previous version, this one includes effectively all new features and capabilities we have released as part of MapStore 2025-01 and 02 last year, basically. So let's briefly recap the main ones coming from the 2025-01. If you remember, at least for, who joined the geOcom 2025, I have already presented last year what released as part of this measured version, which is basically including a completely reviewed layout, at least for what concern the home page and all other relevant parts like and components like the application header, the application bar, toolbar, the resource details, as well as enriched capabilities for browsing and organizing, categorizing, and filtering resources within the MapStore catalog. So all these changes were effectively aimed at enriching the overall user experience in using and browsing MapStore contents, with additional capabilities also in terms of searching resources like filtering resources by type, by keywords. We effectively included a new capability, which is effectively allowing you to filter, to categorize resources by tag, for example, that you can define from the administrative section. And then you are also different ways for differently browsing resources in the catalog with a more compacted list mode, as well as additional sorting capabilities. So this is basically a new UI UX enhancement, which is transversally cover the whole application in general, for all application context in general. So another interesting update is basically regarding the one for managing the user session, which is effectively one of the most used in the geOrchestra. In the geOrchestra installations, as far as I know. Within the new version of the plugin, basically you have a finest control of items within the session. So we have enriched the tool's capability in order to store in the session more things, of course, than in respect to the previous ones that were focused mostly on the map one, a few other things. So you can basically decide what to control basically from the session and remove only what you need. So you can control separately things like specific tools like widgets, the search bar, the attribute table, the map one, the map state one, of course, annotations, and so on and so on. Another interesting tool is effectively the dynamic legend, which is based on effectively working on top of the GeoServer capabilities for allowing you to filter out basically style classes from that are not from the legend that are not inside the map viewport, for example, as well as interacting directly. The user can interact directly with the legend in order to filter data on map. As part of the overall layout and look and feel work we did in 2025-02 is basically an improvement also in user notification. So improving the way MapStore manages the map state, for example, for notifying users about modified resources. If things are not yet saved, are still pending in the map state, as well as other kind of improved notification for effectively properly informing users about the current viewer state. So the measure addictions that we delivered in the MapStore 2025-02 that are now also present in the latest MapStore geOrchestra integration are a set of quite interesting tools for different purposes, effectively, for both 2D and 3D modes. So one of them is the geOcom plugin, for example, which is a tool for managing the reachability areas, okay, in the map. It is based on the Grasshopper routing API, and it provides many kind of settings for effectively running the routing process for drawing the reachability areas with kind of classification colors that can be associated to the different areas within the isochron, as well as the possibility of exporting the isochron as a layer in DOC or as a GeoJSON, and so on and so on, as an annotation, for example. The other one is the itinerary one, okay, still based on Grasshopper, which is basically allowing you for calculating routes in your map, configuring. You can basically, you are free to configure different steps, of course, in your path by interacting with the available options, of course, for excluding highways and so on, or railways and so on and so on, for calculating for optimizing also the path by the fastest one of the basically the most rapid one. So regarding the 3D, for example, we have now the possibility to manage terrain layers directly from the MapStore UI. So we finally enriched the background selector tool for including also that kind of capability. So as usual, the same capabilities are maintained, of course, but you can now easily interacting with the UI for configuring them as part of the selector. So as usual, WMS, DDL build-based terrain are always supported. Cesium ion or cesium compliant terrains, of course, are supported. I decided to put also here these lights again because I know that geofence can be also used in geOrchestra, and I think it is a quite important thing to highlight the rule manager of MapStore, which is allowing you to effectively manage authorization rules directly within the MapStore administrative interface, interacting with the GeoServer REST APIs. As part of the latest works we did on this, that are also involving, of course, the latest, I mean, one of the recent geofence version 3.8, if I remember well. We have enriched the capabilities for including the possibility to filter rules by IP, or for providing the ability to put validity period for defined geofence rules, and so on. There are, rules can be defined completely. So also the ROI, the AOI can be defined within the rule editor effectively. You can define filters. You can, of course, define rules by attributes, for example, read, write, and so on and so on. We have included still for D3D, we have leveraging, of course, on top of the native Cesium.js capabilities. We a quite useful functionality has been finally included in MapStore, which is the one for allowing you to overlap, to put WMS layers on top of 3D tiles, for example, which is not supported before. You can manage this directly layer by layer or with a general setting we included. Of course, for this reason, we upgraded the Cesium.js version. As part of the MapStore tier for managing permissions of MapStore resources, we have included, for example, the ability to filter, to grant access to MapStore resources by IP, so you can define it. Of course, in geOrchestra, so far you always defined rules by groups, for example. Now you can define rules to limit accesses by IP ranges. So there are, of course, many other functionalities that can be very interesting depending on the context. I mean, so for example, the grid-based datum adjustments on the client side that we have included, as well as other kind of functionalities improving the support for temporal layers, for example, both in identify and charts widget. So what is ready to land in geOrchestra potentially, for next version? So we continued working in the overall process of renewing and reskinning the MapStore layout, improving it. So in the 2026 one version, you will find, you can find a next steps part of this project process, which is effectively aimed at that was aimed at refactoring the container positions, the containers architecture, a complete restyling of buttons, to harmonize contents even more. An interesting update is in regards also dashboards, where we have included finally, that was something we discussed a lot in the past, but we finally put it in place, implementing it. So the ability to define different dashboards in one, organized through different dashboards. So you can also connect in one dashboard existing dashboards already defined by with dedicated tabs, for example. This is something that I really like because it can be of interest also for geOrchestra purposes, because the dynamic filter widget builder is a new kind of widget we implemented for allowing creation effectively of filter widgets. So you can basically configure your widget in order to provide within it different kind of filter based on the desired data set. So with different kind of UI configuration, so you can use drop-down chips, multi-selections, radio buttons. So you can basically configure your layout. You can connect different other tools, other components, and also other widgets to that filter widget, so that you can basically filter all contents in the UI according to the setup to the user interaction within the filter itself, of course. As part of the UI, the UI work, the layout work we did, we have also, of course, as you can see, reorganized some components. As you can see, the widgets tray has been moved to the footer. We included the camera position in order to improve the user experience in working with 3D context, with the ability to show the full set of 3D coordinates for using them, and also for interoperability, with the ability to configure both ellipsoidal and the geodetic height. The new coordinate reference system selector is one of the main addition we included, which is now allowing you, excluding basically a refactoring of the configuration tier, of course, because we simplified that a lot also. But we have also included an advanced projection UI where all coordinate reference systems are listed, and you can decide what to include or what to exclude basically in the quick selector. And there is also an improvement in the UI regarding the user experience, because you can see also in a mini map the whole coverage of the selected coordinate reference system. We are expecting more in the future for dynamically downloading, fetching coordinate reference system definitions from a dedicated GeoServer endpoint. Further customization, let's proceed rapidly. Further customization for cloud optimized GeoTIFF, for making them supporting also the 3D mode with identify functions now available. And many other things like classifications capabilities for line traces, the ability to open the map editor directly from a widgets map in dashboards, in a dashboard, and many other things, of course, including library updates and so on and so on. So let's see finally very quickly the ongoing works we are expecting for 2026 and 2027. Still layout updates, as we did for the widgets tray. We basically, and leveraging of course on layout improvements we did about the container management, we moved, and you can see it already in master branch. We moved the timeline in the footer part, in the bottom section, sorry, of the application. Okay, so harmonizing it better with the overall layout system, instead of and freeing space from the map in order to enrich also the visibility of data within the map itself. The catalog tool will be, this is also something already available in master. Has been completely reskinned. Okay, so still in line with the layout design we decided at the beginning, and also leveraging on the experience we collected from GeoNode. We decided to effectively refactor the UI of this tool with the ability to expand it full page for better browsing contents, for example, in a different way, but also for improving in general the UI, the UX on that. And this is effectively we have also improved in this process the integration tier for GeoNode APIs. Support for flat GeoBuff and support for ArcGIS featured services have been already included in master branch. All of this will be released as part of the 2026 O2 in July. And for these two new sources, we have included, I mean, the support. Of course, the main functions are supported, like the style editor, styling, the legend, the identify, the 3D mode, and so on and so on. So last but not least, I decided to dedicate this last slide in order to provide you with an overview of plans we are expecting for the next few years, for sure 2026 to 2027, that are aimed mostly at revisiting and refactoring the overall project structure, aimed at, following, yes, a process aimed at streamline the overall processes for maintaining the project itself, for helping us in doing more frequent releases, which means effectively reduce the core size, of course, so removing things from the core, making them as extension, and for this reason aiming for a extension first architecture, for example. Okay, so putting more pressure on that, if you want, in order to start encouraging people, the community, and involving them in using extensions, in providing extensions, also as a way for better contributing for new functionalities without the need of having them in the core, for example, with all of difficulties or, long processes these may require. Okay, so a catalog of extensions, so an improvement at the same time of other kind of scenarios, like a catalog, a public catalog of extensions that people can connect to install extensions in a MapStore instance. And of course, as a direct consequence of this, a refactor of downstream projects. So the structure of downstream project as well as extensions, of course, for making them easier, so easier to develop with them, to work with them, to maintain them, and so on and so on. Of course, as part of this, there is also a consolidation of the backend tier, where we are working, as I mentioned last year, to fuse backend dependencies, internal backend dependencies we have for streamlining, the overall project management and release processes, as well as other things, of course, a better package distribution, upgraded core libraries like Spring 7 for the core, but also React and Rex.js for the front end. That's all. Thank you so much.